And we are live.
Yes, we are. We are live from the west side, and I think just from the mid south side tonight.
And down from the
Yeah,
south side.
You
from
know,
Memphis, Tennessee.
there you go, Memphis, Tennessee. So tonight's guest is Mid South Sasquatch, and of course we have the lovely Christy.
Sci-fi.
That's right. That's
And we
right.
got the unbelievable SoCal.
I don't know about unbelievable, but
And we're
I'm here.
missing
I'm here.
we're missing Lewis.
We are very much missing Lewis,
Uh-oh.
unfortunately.
We just lost Mid-South.
I'm sure he'll be back.
He'll
I'm
be
sure
back.
he'll be back. Yeah, I think he's running off of Wi-Fi. So
Okay, so let's get started and let's see who's in the chat room.
let's do it. Let's do
I'm
it.
gonna start off with Duke World Bigfoot Radio. Yay! Woo!
And
Don't
we got my new buddy here in the Bigfoot world, Typical Watch in the house.
Typical.
You know, so
We got Whispers TV. What's up,
Wrong.
Whispers?
yeah, Whispers TV is in the house, and I think this is their first time being here. So I hope they come back for a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth, and hope they enjoy the show, and hope we can open their eyes to this whole Bigfoot ordeal. And you know,
We got Carol and Bill King. How y'all doing?
yeah,
We got,
How you
hold
doing,
on.
T&B?
We got Squatchaholic, our moderator, who does a good
Yep.
job.
Absolutely. Chris Jarvis, he's a regular here.
What's up, Chris? We got, hold on, we got Sharon. Hello, Sharon, sweetie. I'm praying for you. Sending out prayers.
Yep.
She's got a lot going on.
She does have a lot going on at a time of year where there's just already enough going on. And then you got to throw in the whole 2021 ordeal or 2020 ordeal.
Again. I did.
We're not going there, but she had a lot going on, and we're praying. Happy Two Bears just came in.
Gordo, yee! Love Gordo.
I mean, he is the voice of wisdom. Let me tell you, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, he is.
I love his videos where he just goes out and explains stuff. It's absolutely just really makes you think.
So
which one is that? Y'all talking about me? I back and I dipped out there for a second. So.
Yeah. No, we were talking about Pappy Two Bears.
Oh yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah, he's a guru, man. He's
I watch everybody's.
Typical.
I watch everybody's stuff. SoCal, I watch you. I watch everybody on YouTube that's sub too. I watch their every single day.
It's a good thing to do because you get to see their experiences and compare them to your own. And
that's right.
9 times out of 10, they're very, very similar. And then you start thinking about the geographical locations. You could be across the dang country and have similar experiences. You know?
That's right.
So,
I was trying to get together with a few people from Arkansas and Mississippi. And I just recently found a couple of researchers here that I knew nothing about that live in Memphis and the surrounding areas. They don't go on YouTube or anything, but they do their own little private research. And we're trying to get together and have a handbook for structures. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of these structures that you see everywhere. I mean, not just in my spot. You got Colorado, California. Yeah, it's the same type of structure everywhere you look, everywhere you go.
Well, one thing you might want to check out is Tom Cantrell. He's written, I think, 13 books already, and one of them is all about structures.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know Tom.
Yeah,
I'm on Facebook with Tom, but
yeah. So you'll have to get on Facebook, ask him I hear you wrote a book about structures. Which one is it? Because I want it. You know, and he's been doing this for 60 years. You know,
wow, I didn't know that.
he's been doing this before the Patterson Gimlin video. So
yeah, I just got off Facebook a little while ago. I posted a lot of pictures of a probable squatch that was in the bushes, and one of them was on your group, and I get a lot of slack off of it. But
well, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory in this topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. So, that's right. I'm used to it. I'm used to it by now. I mean, I've been on YouTube for 7, 8 years, I think, and Facebook, I don't know, 2013 was when I first got on Facebook, but I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, you gotta.
A lot of these people, it's a lot of these people that inexperienced. They've never been off their armchair out in the woods. You know, they know it all from the computers. Which I can say there is some researchers that are they can't go in the woods. You know, they're either disabled or in a chair or something. But they do a lot of research on everybody's videos. So I do take granted for a lot of things that I've taught to them. But these ones that just, you know, get off of work, come home, get in a group, start talking, listen to what either other researchers or something they've watched off YouTube, and then they try to put their 2 cents into it. But it's fact. From them, it's fact. You know, you can't, there's no way to convince them at all. You could capture a live Sasquatch and have it there with you, and for some, they'll find a way of telling you that's fake.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the best evidence out there. You could have, you know, the best video, the best picture. There's always going to be a bunch of them that, you know, say it's either a man in a ghillie suit or it's a stump squatch or this, that,
right,
you know.
Right. And what they don't understand is that when they're hiding, they will pretend to be a tree stump.
Yeah.
They will pretend to be a bush. That's one thing I've learned in my experience.
They'll blend right into it.
And I actually
I've got a video to where I walked within 3 feet of one, and this one, it was about 9.5 feet tall. You can see the arm, the left arm and part of his chest, and you can hear the breathing. It's like a watery gurgle, like a raspy breathing, and I'm surprised I didn't hear it when I passed by, but on video, as soon as I passed by, you could hear it go, just suck in a big deep breath, and it's just gurgling, and I was like, God, I was within 3 feet of the thing. And it was a playground that I found. And structures were just everywhere. I'm talking, it was just with 2 or 3 steps, you was up under an X or a twisted, mangled configuration that they've done. You know, it reminded me of being watching Mark Abel at Colorado Bigfoot. It reminded me a lot of his structures. But yeah, that video, I mean, it didn't really gain attention because I didn't really see it. It wasn't up until about 6 months after I made the video, I was going through all my videos and seeing it on there, and I was like, wow. And I looked through the comments, and somebody had already seen it themselves. They had commented and said, God, you passed right by one. You didn't hear it breathing? And I was like, no.
Yeah, I definitely vouch for that. You could be within feet of one and not even know it. That's exactly how I discovered my group. You know, if it wasn't for Fletch growling at me, I would have never even known they were there. I would have just gone to the next location and just walked around, and you know. So. Yeah,
I lost my 2 labs in a house fire back last year in Gamaliel, Arkansas. Gamaliel, Arkansas. It's right up by Mountain Home. Yeah, I was here in Memphis with my roommate. We was down at the fish hatchery actually squatching one day, and we was going through the creek, and I said, man, don't step on those stones. I said, you're gonna slip and bust your butt. It wasn't 2 seconds out of my mouth. He stepped on a stone, slipped, and broke his arm. I mean, his arm was like almost like an L in the middle, below the wrist, and he snapped into right there when they come back to Memphis to get his pins and everything put in because it wouldn't take his insurance in Arkansas. But yeah, when I was here, it rained really hard. There was water down in the walls of our trailer. We lived in a 2-bedroom wall, and firing by the air conditioner caught fire, and both my dogs was inside, so I lost them. They're in a lot of my videos from the Arkansas side. But we had in Arkansas, we had a couple of slap side of the trailer at night, and I got several Facebook lives that were sitting out, and you could see their eye glow in the woods, and they were tossing pebbles and pecans and everything at us, and kind of rocks hit the trailer. I want to move back. Since I lost the house and I lost everything, I'm still trying to get back on my feet. So I've had to revert back to old areas that I've had here. And I've got an area, I call it Area 3. That area has a lot of paranormal stuff happen to me in there. And it's not something that I catch on film. Of course, I catch it on film, but I see it in my eyes. I see it with my eyes. I see it while it's happening. And the stuff on videos, I see it. Not my phone, but I can see it. I'm literally there. A picture taken of this area. It has a friend of mine passed away 5 years prior to this picture, and it's there in the picture. And all I seen was this purple haze in that area. It was like fog that was just right above ground. It had a purple hue to it. My friend is standing there instead of the purple hue. And I've got a video on my account that had a panorama picture done in it. And he's surrounded by all these entities, is all I can call them. I don't know if they're interdimensional or they're not Sasquatch. They're some type of demon or entity. They're weird looking. I mean, they're almost cartoonish, if you know what I'm saying. But this area, a few videos, I think about 2 or 3 back, I had a camera on my back that was facing behind me. And everybody that was commenting was stating that something came running out of the woods, stood up in the middle of the road, and went back down and went back into the woods. And to this day, I haven't caught it. I'm like, what are y'all looking at? Because I don't see this. I'm like, if this actually happened, I'm like, I really want to see it. And I've got like 15 people commenting on a video saying they seen the same thing. Everybody's telling me. I was like, God, I got to get a better phone or something. I put it up on my big screen and like, where is this? Yeah. I've caught quite a few images. It's just, I'm bipolar and I swing. I'm not a cameraman. I mean, I do not know really how to film. And a lot of times, if I pay attention to what I'm doing, holding either a camera or a phone, swinging it all over the place, and I'm not even paying attention. I'm looking out in the woods, I'm looking for Bigfoot, and doing my thing, and I ain't even paying attention to the camera. And I go back and I look at the video, and I'm filming the ground for like 20 minutes. You film the ground so much, I'm like,
your audio is breaking up in segments.
Yeah, it's my it's the internet. It's our internet. It's just today. I don't know what to say. Or
I mean, it's good, but you're breaking up, and I mean, I can hear some of
Yeah,
your
it's
stuff.
just the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Wi-Fi.
But you know, one thing we ask all of our guests on this show is, what got you into the topic? You know, for Christy, it was a
Well,
movie. For me, it was the recreation, the actual study of the Patty video, where you could see her muscles bulge and everything. You know,
yeah, I seen the Patty video when it came out, when it aired on TV. Aired. I watched it, and I was I was stuck on that film, and I started reading into it through the library. Uh, the folk monster was the next one that came in. Was the next one that came in. The Legend of Bobby Creek. That was the next movie that came in, and I got intrigued with it. And being it was so close to my home, I was raised in southern Louisiana, right outside of New Orleans.
You from my area?
Yeah, I was born in New Orleans, and I was raised in Narco.
Narco, yeah, I know where Narco's at. I'm right outside of Narco. I'm in Metairie.
In Metairie, yeah, I've been all over. I was, in my late teens, I was at the Last Lounge, Rock Box, and all the bars down in Fat City.
Yep, Fat City. They don't have the bars open late no more. They closed them down.
Yeah,
they're gone. Yep.
My mom and dad in Narco, and a lot of things are shutting down there. And plus, with the way I heard the sea level is sinking down there, or Grand Isle is no longer there, or Dolphin Island's no longer there.
Dolphin Island, no, Grand Isle's still there. It's Dolphin Island that's going away.
Okay, yeah, that's it. But
I
miss it down there. I was raised in Narco. I lived in Laplace, and I lived in St. Rose.
Oh.
In Turtle Pond.
Oh, the sand bowl. Yeah, I know where Turtle Pond's at. The Dust Bowl.
So it is. Yeah, I lived down there for about probably 3 years. I Little Pond.
Yeah, we used to go ride dirt bikes on the other side of the levee in the sand pit over there.
What really stuck on Bigfoot was my first encounter. I was 12, 13, somewhere around there. I skipped school. I went to Destrehan Junior High, and I skipped school. And my dad found out about it, and I knew he was going to tear my hide. I mean, because we had willow trees out in the front yard, weeping willows, and he would beat my ass with them switches off of willow trees. I would not do it. There was no way I was going to get a beating this time. So me and two friends took off to the Bonnie Carey Spillway. And that's where my first encounter had. And it was a skunk ape. Probably about, I say it couldn't have been over 6 feet tall. We were tucked back in a bog all the way in the back of the spillway where the woods and swamp was at.
Really? By the spillway, is it the first turn off, or when you go into Laplace and turn off by the levee right there?
No, it's the first levee when you go through Narco, when you pass Narco, before you get on the bridge that goes to Laplace.
Yeah.
It's that first levee. You go all the way down.
By the boat launch?
Train. No, it's past the boat launch. It's
about
2 miles. It's 2 miles down there where the woods, the heavy, thick woods swamps at. We were down there smoking cigarettes. And, we heard it more than seen it. It came out It came up tall grass so quick. I mean, within feet of my face, and I turned to look, and they were gone. They were gone. I think before I made it out of sight, they seen it before I did, and they was gone. But when I turned back around, it made a big old huff at me, and then turned around and walked back into the woods. I mean, and it was so quick that I was like, what the hell did I just seen? And it's it took at least a couple of weeks for me to realize that was a skunk ape, that was a booger, because all my family called them boogers. They always told us, don't go in the swamps at night. The boogers will get you. The boogers will get you. And now that I can, in my adult years, I think back to my grandfather and my grandma. They lived in right there in what's the first little town before Laplace? What's that?
New Sarpy?
Gramercy. I think
Oh, Gramercy. Gramercy, yeah. Lutcher?
No, Lutcher. Okay, no, that is yeah, I can't remember it. All right, so if you go to Laplace, you know the little radio station on the right.
Yes.
You get off the bridge.
Yes.
That's my grandma's house. That was my grandma and grandfather's house, my mama's house. Where
Really?
she grew up. Yeah, that's where my mama grew up, is in that radio station. That was their house.
No kidding.
And there's a little road that goes alongside there, and it goes all the way in the back. My grandfather was a pig farmer. He raised hogs, and he had hogs back there. And I remember him saying every once in a while, he'd say, one of them damn buggers got one of my hogs. So every month, he would take one of his hogs, the ones that were least fed, and would a little further out in the woods, tie it up and leave it there. And I never did understand why because with a day or so, the hog would be gone. But I remember a couple instances where it took all of us and made us go in the house because there was a property. And none of this came to me until I've seen that skunk ape. When that skunk ape came out, it like all came rushing back. So I didn't really dive head first into it. Then it just sort of it happened, and I went through school and all the regular things the kids do and everything. But into my 20s, I moved to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I lived in Pine Bluff for 5 years. I had 5.5 acres with a house at the middle of the 5.5 acres. I had 220 acres of international paper mill property behind me. Well, I had hiding, which I couldn't. It could have been a hunter dressed in black, but telling myself, I'm like, there's no way. There's a big old wrestler out here dressed in black walking through the woods. So that right there sort of set me off on a run again on Bigfoot. And when I finally moved out of Arkansas to Memphis, that's when everything really started clicking in. I mean, all the areas I was going to, it was like, I don't know, it's like these things were attracted to me, or I was attracted to them. I don't know, but it seems like every little pocket I go into, I can find them just like that. I mean, it's just uncanny, and you get a feeling when you're around them. When they get around you, your hair stands up on your arms, your neck. You start feeling cold sweat, and that's what I get anyway. I feel like really nervous because I think it's I don't know if it's the infrasound or the zapping or whatever, but I've been hit, I've been zapped, and a lot of people say, "Oh, that's bull." I'm telling you, that ain't bull. I've been zapped before and been in the middle of the woods and then end up at home not knowing how I got there. None of my gear was with me. I left all my gear in the woods. Don't remember nothing. 25 miles from my house and don't know how I got there. That's what I call a zap. but yeah. So
yeah, that's definitely odd. That's for sure. You know, I mean, I've experienced memory loss myself, and to a point to where I had to watch my
yeah, that's
videos
right.
to
That's
figure
right.
out what I
That's,
did. And then when I went back, that whole trail I walked up was just barricaded all the way up with giant logs. So, I mean, I got growled at in that area trying to get through the logs. I got about halfway up and got growled at.
I've got growled at it a couple
So
times
I know why.
within the
So
past month. Lady in the woods this deep, and
yeah,
it was very audible on video. I was walking through Area 3, and I heard it as if right next to me. And Miss D was like, I heard that so loud. And I was like, that was a growl. And I turned to the direction. I didn't see it. And I panned that area real good. I haven't found it in my videos. Of course, I've got people that they see everything in the video. I mean, but I heard it. It was loud. It was audible. And when it happened, I had the coldest streak go down my spine when it did that. And I got really like confused and didn't know where I was at. So I turned around and get out of there.
you brought up, seeing the signs and stuff like that. And when I started this, I did a lot of theoretical research. I watched people's videos. I learned what to look for. And,
yeah, I did too.
And once you get out there, you're not completely blind. And once you start finding stuff, it stands out like a neon sign, you know? So I started kind of teaching my wife a little bit. And she gets to go out in the backyard in northern Idaho. And she was walking around. She was all, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. She found stuff that I didn't even find. She's all, you're right. Once you know what to look for, it stands out like crazy,
Yeah, that's right.
So,
right.
it's just, you can't go out without any information and expect something to happen. I mean, they're watching you from the time you park your car until the time you leave in your car. One of them is watching.
They know before you get in there. After you go in, you hit that first knock. And when you go in, I've got an area that it's kind of far from my home, and I don't get out there as much as I'd like to. But every single time that I go in, or we could be in a parking lot, and as soon as we get out of the car, you hear that knock. And I was like, they know we're here. So, but
that's right.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of evidence from that area, and I'm wanting to go out there and spend like a night or a weekend or something out there, and have a couple other people come with me, and we're trying to get that together. It's getting everybody to get on the same page and same level with you to get out there.
Right. And 2020 has been a weird year, so it's super
hard.
Really
hard. Very hard.
There's been quite a few wrenches tossed in those gears, for 2020. But
that's right.
You brought up the feeling you get when they're around. And like for you get cold sweats and chills, and the hair stands up on end. And I can attest to that. In the beginning, I used to not so much cold sweats, but I would just get this overwhelming surge through my body. It was almost like when you put a 9-volt battery to your tongue.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten that feeling.
And I would get that over my whole back. And the hardest part of being out there when you know they're there is getting over the fear of them.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I go through that a lot. It's like it comes over on you emotionally. Like, I mean, it hits you quick, and it's like you get confused. I get confused. Okay, I just say not you, but I get confused to where I'll be talking about something, and then I get this feeling of dread. I mean, it's a feeling of dread that comes over me, and I'm like, I'm talking about one thing, and then I go off onto another, and then it just all jumbles up on me, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm
that happens. That
confused.
happens with a lot of people. Actually, they just start randomly talking about stuff that's not even part of the
Yeah,
subject or
that's not
anything
part
like
of the
that, or
subject, or
they're sitting there looking
or
at this X talking about having to fix the windshield in their car because
hmm
it's like, wait a second, what about the
yeah.
big X
And
that's right in front of you?
at first, I tried blaming it on my bipolarness. I was like, well, I'm bipolar, so I do that naturally. And then after watching the video, I was like, that's not me right there. I don't do that. And everybody was like, you got zapped, or they hit you with some infrasound. So I don't know if the zapped it might be a higher of infrasound, is what I'm thinking, because the infrasound puts the dread feeling on you, is what I believe. And they say in tigers and what is it, zebras,
Elephants.
giraffes, that uh, the infrasound that comes from them disorients and confuses their predators that's fixing to pounce on or prey or whatever. But I can see it in that, because when I've been hit with it, that's exactly what it does. I don't know where I'm at. Uh, there was one time I left everything out in the woods. I'm talking my knives, my backpack, all my gear that I had with me. And I found myself walking down the road like, how did I get here? I was like, what the hell? And I got home. I was like that for 3 days. I was confused. They hit me so hard. I didn't know where none of my gear was at. I didn't know if I made a video or not. Actually, and this is the weird part, the video was wiped off my phone. It wasn't there. But a week later, it showed up in my Google Photos, but not on the main camera itself on the phone. You got your gallery app, then you got your Google Photos. Well, I was using the gallery camera. It was wiped off there. There was nothing there. But 2 weeks later, it was in those photos, and I was able to go back and see where I left my gear. But when I went back to retrieve my gear, all my gear was all piled neatly in one spot by a tree. But in the video, I'm throwing the knife down and taking my backpack off and throwing it off to the side. And that's what kind of astonished me. Now, who did this? It couldn't have been a human. I'm 25 miles into the woods in a bush. What I did was I walked on a nest, or I don't know. There were so many different types of beans in this nest that they, I mean, they could have been aliens. Yeah, I just don't know. I've got screenshots of this nest, and it's up to the viewer to look at it. There's a couple of actual Sasquatch that are standing around this thing, but inside the nest are all these weird looking creatures that you don't your eyes, but you get it on camera and you get it in your video, you pull it out.
Interdimensional beings.
So my hand's going numb. But yeah, that time I got hit so hard. It took me 3 days to get over it. I mean, the next day I was sick. I mean, I was nauseated, throwing up. I couldn't get off the couch. I was really, really weak. And then the next day I started feeling a little better, but I was throwing up. They hit me hard with that one.
That's what
I
the
don't know if they,
infrasound. That's what the infrasound does to you. When they zap you, it hits you. It makes you throw up. It makes you have a bad headache. It disorients
yeah,
you, like you said.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
first time it's ever done me that bad. I mean, I've been hit with it many times out in the field, and it only lasts for 15, 20 minutes, you know. And
Yeah,
there
When
was
I
a
because
time,
experienced my memory loss, it was just really tired for about 3 days. I mean, I
yeah,
must have
I had
slept
uh, I had
16
one other
hours a
time.
day.
I had one other time that it lasted 4 hours, and I had a friend of mine that was with me. We got separated, and I came out on one side of the woods we were in, and he came out like 5 miles down the road, and we lost 4 hours of time. Still have not regained that time. We don't know what happened. I don't know where I went or what I did. All I remember is walking out of the wood line and looking for my partner, wondering where the hell he's at. And
well,
I looked at my watch, and there's a lot of things that happened that day. My phone, it completely shut off. It was completely dead. I couldn't get it back on or nothing. When I walked out of that wood line, my phone came back on and had 70% of battery. And I'm like, what the hell? Because the last thing I remembered was my phone shut off.
well,
So that
because
day, go
because
ahead. Go ahead.
you probably, the reason why you probably got zapped is because you were either amongst two things. You were either too close to the babies or the children, or you was in a designated area where they hunt at.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they
Yeah,
start zapping you and throwing rocks and become aggressive.
yeah. I've had many encounters of being aggressive, and I push myself a lot because I try to get as close as I can to them. And but that's it. I mean, the area that I researched a river that feeds off of the Mississippi River, and it goes all through the western part of Tennessee, all the way up into Middle Tennessee and Eastern Tennessee. So this river, it's called the Wolf River. It's about it's probably 300 yards wide, and like I said, it goes all through Tennessee. But this is a major highway for them because they come off of the Mississippi River either from Arkansas, because we got this island that sits in the middle of the Mississippi River, and when the river goes down, there's a walkway that you can go and walk the rocks all the way across the river. And so they migrate from Arkansas through this island and to the Wolf River they come in on. So I've got like two groups that has actually stayed. And I know this because of the juvenile. I remember the juvenile when it was like really young. I've seen it 2 or 3 times when it was very young, just caught glimpses of it. I got one actually good sighting of it back 2 years ago when I fell. I was doing a video. I told myself on a video, please don't let me break my neck. And I was trying to cross a little creek on a down bridge, and my foot slipped off and got caught in between two branches, and I fell backwards, and everything went. Camera, everything hit the ground. I was cussing up a storm. Well, I managed to get back up onto the log, and I looked up, and it was within, I say, 40 feet of me on a rock, just crouched, looking at me. And in the back of my mind, it kind of looked like it was like shaking his head, like, you dumb human. And anyway, Yeah, it's the same one because it's got a white, like on the top of his head, it's got a white, sort of not a stripe, but like a little patch on top of his head. And it's the same little juvenile. So this thing has followed me ever since for the past 5 years that I've been researching this area. And that's really cool. I like that. But yeah, I've walked up on too many nests and been around some youngins to get zapped like that. But see, a lot of people don't understand my area at all. I mean, the Wolf River is not very wide. Uh, the forest on each side, probably in sections, it's within 1 to 4 miles long. And then you got a section where a road or interstate comes through, and then it starts off again, and it follows the river all up into the mountains. And there's some spots like we got out in Collierville, where a couple of researchers I just recently met are. There's an area up there that's very active. I have not been able to get to it yet. It's their area, so I ain't gonna infringe and go on their turf. But they've invited me to come as soon as we can they all get together and get it done. But from what I understand, it's the very area. Sightings around here don't go on record. People do not want to. They don't want their names mentioned. They don't. But they contact me and there's another guy here. They contacted through him on my page. I've got a page on Facebook. That's a blog. It's an actual site. You can call in. I'll go and investigate. I'll do, sorry. I'll do cast of prints or anything that I find, or I'll look at all the evidence and then I'll tell them, if they got a problem or not to be worried or whatever. But yeah, around here, they don't want no names mentioned. When you get out there, if they got family or somebody comes up while you're talking, you got to change the subject like completely. So it's weird like that here. And we actually got a Bigfoot festival that happens once a year here. I speak there. I spoke last year. I'm gonna speak this year. It's coming up pretty soon. But oh man, my phone.
That's really cool. You brought up the baby thing, the baby Sasquatch thing, and just for comparison, I think that is exactly why they did what they did to me, and why they barricaded that trail. That it's on my channel. I think it's called My Wife is the Best. Sitting in front of a pine tree, and that whole little meadow right there was riddled with thousands of footprints. And the dirt is like sand. You could tell that something stepped there, but there's no definition. Okay, now I was looking at 18 to 20 inch, 18 to 20 inch prints, all the way down to like 5 and 6 inch prints everywhere. So, and right down that valley is where I put my camera.
I haven't really caught
that camera.
I haven't caught a big print. I think this river that I've been researching for the past 5 years, I think all the juveniles and young adults go through this area because it's easy to walk through. It's not really thick like in some areas around Shelby County and Tipton County. But I think all the young ones go through here because the largest print I found was like, I wear a size 14, so I've caught many the same size as my shoe, but a footprint is not a shoe print. And there ain't no people in this city do not wear shoes. I mean, do not go outside with shoes. I mean, the city people in Memphis, you don't see somebody barefooted walking around at all.
All right.
Because it's mostly concrete around here, and there ain't nobody go out to the wood. In all my years of going out to the Wolf River, with the exception of a few men that's fishing off of the river, I've seen 2 people in the woods while I was there. One guy was lost, and then the other guy was he was tweaked or something. He was methed out, and he was lost. He done got up in the woods, and he's seeing all kinds of stuff. Oh, it's a mess. I caught it on video on my second channel, but that was. But in all my years, 2 people out of 5 years, So there's some places off the Wolf River I go to that have prints. It's like I would say it's like a beach that's on a river. It's a sandbar, but there's always prints down there. There's always prints, and I haven't gotten any cast of them because I don't ever bring no plaster with me. To start doing that.
There's we have a question for you from
all right.
our moderator, Mid-South. Do you think the ones in your current area are Bigfoot type or skunk apes?
Well, I get several different kinds in there, being that the Wolf River is a travel way for them. It's a highway. They get back and forth from Chattanooga, Nashville, all up in them areas where Scott Carpenter and all them's at, up in Tennessee and the Smoky Mountains. The Wolf River cuts all the way up to the Smoky Mountains. And so I think I get a little bit of everything down there. Arkansas has a lot of, they have a lot of skunk ape, because different areas of Arkansas is swampy. Some areas are swampy, and some others, mountain range. The Ozark Mountains, around 51, the town of 51. There's a national forest down there called Gunner Pool. I caught a lot of evidence down there. Some of the biggest structures I've ever seen in my life, minus Colorado, was in Arkansas. And there was 3 all side by side that was 100, out of these big oak and old oak and not cypress, but hackberry trees made out. I mean, these trees are huge. You couldn't put your arms around 2 people, and there's no way a human could do that. But yeah. To answer that question, I get a little bit of both in my areas, the skunk ape and the Sasquatch. I believe that Sasquatch is a spiritual being, and that Bigfoot is the flesh and blood, and that's just my opinion. I get a lot of crap over that.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
Everybody, bases their opinions, by their personal experiences. And
That's right.
that is one thing that we don't do here, is we don't judge anybody by their beliefs based on their personal opinions. We take everything into account. You know what I mean? So there's nothing that we discredit. There's nothing. I mean, we weren't there. We didn't experience it with you. So we have to go to you for your stories and your experiences. And we just want to get that out, because someone out there may have had very similar experiences, such as yourself. You know what I mean? So it's just more validation to other people and yourself that, these things are here, and they do exist, and they do the stuff that they do. So
that's right.
I mean,
this
not only that, you can't make people believe. It's only up to your discretion, and other people who actually had encounters are the ones who believe. The ones who do not believe are going to have a discrepancy against it, because they have not been out there, they have not seen one, they have not encountered or experienced one. So me personally, I know I got the Metairie, baby. I have Metairie.
Yeah.
That's
Carry
Harry.
down.
But oh yeah, across the river. But you know, you got to be the one who knows and who believes in it.
That's
you
right.
can't make
That's
people
right.
believe in them.
I just
So I mean,
told that to
as hard
somebody
as you
tonight
try,
on
as
Facebook, and they said, "Can you outline what you're saying?" I was like, "You know what? I said, I'm not going into that with the red circles and all that." I said, if you don't see it, I can't make you see it, because I'm gonna get a bunch of these folks with the
exactly.
power of suggestion crap. They're gonna come in there and telling me I'm circling this or I'm outlining this, trying to tell them this is Bigfoot or this is Sasquatch, and I'm not going into that again. I told her, I said, I'm sorry you don't see it. You know, scroll on to the next post. You know, if you don't see it, you don't have to keep commenting, agony saying, dragging us through the mud. But
Right.
and I told her that. I told a couple of people that tonight. You know, I was like, man, if you don't see it, I'm sorry. I mean, I can't make you see it. You know,
I completely
and I'm not
agree.
gonna.
You know, I mean, some people, they have a complete curiosity, but deep down inside, they don't want to know.
And they're stuck on that
which is
film.
that mental block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is their own personal mental blocks keeping them from seeing what you see or what I see or what Christy sees or anybody else in the chat. You know?
I'm trying to explain that to somebody tonight about if your brain, if you're stuck on something that don't exist and you really believe this thing don't exist, but you have just a figment that perhaps it does, but your brain's still telling you it don't, then there ain't nothing's gonna change it. I mean, there's nothing you can do to change.
Ain't nothing gonna change it until they have their own experience.
That's right. Until they see that with their own eyes, that's when they'll know.
Right.
And I had a partner on my second channel that was with me for a while that he was a skeptic and he really didn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
He thought I was crazy and just thought I was nuts and some of the stuff I was seeing until he had a sighting. We was coming off and the video was, we had cameras were put up, everything. We walking out, we still got like a mile to go. And I turned to look and he ain't beside me. He's like 100 yards behind me, staring in the woods, and it's white, and it was so white. Like, dude, you okay? I said, man, you okay? And he said, I believe. He said, I believe. He said, that thing was so big. And I was like, what did you see? He said, it was a linebacker. He said, I swear, the shoulders was as big as 2 refrigerators put together. I was like, oh, you seen an alpha male? I said, yeah. I said, they out here.
The big boy.
They're few and sparse. I mean, I've only seen one big alpha male while I was there, and he bluff charged me, and that was the last time I went to that area. I have not been to the area. I caught it on video. We got a whoop on video right after it bluff charged me. I mean, I lost the camera. I had a GoPro on my shoulder. It come off while I was taking off out of the woods. I had another researcher.
Great camera for something that's designed for action sports, right?
Yeah.
Can't even take a simple run.
Yeah. I had Jim Dawson was with me. I don't know if y'all know him or not, but he worked on the Find Bigfoot series for a while with Biscardi and his crew. But he was with me. He had an encounter that day. We had 3 of them that was around us. He was looking at one while this other one bluff charged me. And there's another one up on a ravine that was just crouched watching us. The one that bluff charged me was about 9.5, maybe 10 feet tall, and was huge. And when it came up out of the grass, I know they say stand your ground. I was gone. And on a video, you could hear me holler, "Don't!"
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I was hollering at this thing, "Hey, get away from me!" do not come any further. But yeah, Dawson, he had, while that was happening, there was one that was creeping up on him, and I turned and looked at him. All I seen was a box because he was walking dead out of the woods. I mean, we came on. They were pretty aggressive that day. I mean, as soon as we walked in, well, they were there. It's like we interrupted them or something. But Bigfoot anthropologist has done a breakdown on that video. You can go to his channel and see it. It's called Very Close Encounter with a Whoop. It's on my Memphis Sasquatch channel, and it's on my Mid-South channel. The video is, I'm sorry. But you can go to the anthropologist. He's got it on his site too. He actually,
sorry to interrupt you, but the World Bigfoot Radio has a great comment, and I have to address it. So Duke says they don't have a pattern in their brain for something the size and shape of Sasquatch. So all the biggies have to do is stand still. And our brain, which has no pattern match for it, just ignores. I have to agree, because that is one thing that I have learned from my group. And I state it every time I'm out there, and I call it my ninja skills, my Sasquatch ninja skills. If you don't move, people don't see you. There you go.
That's right. That's
if
right.
You don't. I'm literally 60 feet from a trail, standing out in the open. If I don't move or make a sound, people walk right by, don't even see me. And that is part of their tactic.
Yeah, your eyes are trained for movement. You know, that's when you see
you're trained for movement and sound. You make no sound, you make no movement, you go completely undetected.
I've been lately. Go ahead.
Hey, lady. Glad you can make it.
Hey, Miss D, how you doing?
Miss D is in the house. I'm glad. I mean, I haven't spoken to her in a while.
Merry Christmas.
I was just saying today. How you doing, Miss D?
Merry Christmas to you too, D.
We love you, D.
Yep. Yes, we do.
So what did you say?
I mean,
glasses.
I think my group has been teaching me how humans operate and how the Sasquatch people operate. And the Sasquatch people are learning from the patterns and the habits of humans. So if you go out there, you don't make noise, and if you don't make any movement, you don't get seen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let me say one thing. Hi, Miss Charmaine. Hi, Bernard. I love y'all. That's my friends watching. They're watching from Harahan.
I've told a couple people on Facebook that I was coming on tonight, but none of my friends around here. I mean, I talk about it. I'm totally open with my research and what I do with everybody. I mean, on Facebook, everybody that's in this town that knows me, they all know what I do. We don't talk about it when we're around each other. Every once in a while, they'll bring it up, and ask, what's going on with this, or what's up with this? Do you really believe? And I tell them, yeah, and that's it. I don't get no ridicule about it. I had one person for a while. She ridiculed me and teased me about it. Took her out to the woods, and then she don't do it no because she did have an encounter real sighting, but we were having acorns and the twigs tossed at us. I mean, they were coming from an angler direction. They wasn't falling out of the trees, and there was squirrels, and these things were hitting us in the back. Every time we turned our back, something would hit us in the back, and she freaked out. She freaked out and has never she really haven't even seen her or spoken to her since. But she don't tease me no more about it. She thought it was gonna be just all fun and games, go out to the woods, around. I told her straight out, I'm taking you to a hot spot. I'm taking you to a spot where they are. I said they are here, and she didn't believe it until we got down. She believed it now though. But and I tell that with everybody. Everybody say, "Would you take me out?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take you out." I said, "You know, I'm not there to hold your hand. I'm not there to, and I'm not going to say you will have a sighting, you will have a cow. No, I mean, it's up to that person, and it's really up to species to show themselves because they pick and choose who they want to see them. You know, they don't show themselves to anybody. And I try to tell these things. And yeah, they heard the camera. They have it's either the sound or zapping or something, but there's a frequency that they're on that disrupts all video footage, camera, $1,000 video equipment out there. You still ain't gonna catch a squatch off guard. You ain't gonna catch one. And the Patterson film, that was back then. You know, there wasn't people like us nowadays looking for Bigfoot. You know.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
the cell phone hadn't been invented, and
that's right.
No one, very few and far between people were out carrying cameras. So, it looks like we lost him. So maybe he'll come back in. So.
Wait.
There he comes. There he comes.
Here he comes.
There we go.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
But yeah, I have to agree with you and stuff that they pick and choose who they want to interact with. And I think they will start with the aggression part, the throwing rocks, the banging of sticks to see how you react.
That's
and
right.
if you turn tail and run the other way, well, you're not the person. You know what I mean? But if you sit there and say, "Oh, listen to it," and you have like a fascination with it, or whatever it may be, but you don't run, they will continue and stuff, but they will feed you little bits.
That's right.
To see they test you along the way.
I got a fascination with the Knox, but then anytime I'm doing a video, I'm always picking up a rotten stick or a stick that don't make no loud knock.
Let me tell you, it is so hard to find.
That's right.
A stick strong enough to do a knock.
Yeah.
To give the kind of caliber and power in the crack behind
the
same that they have. It is so hard. I mean, obviously, they're breaking these sticks off of live trees.
Yeah, that's right.
It's obvious. And, they're not picking them up.
I've got one. I got a oak one here at the house that it sounds like a home run wind tree with it,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
when you're out there in the woods,
like a baseball bat, as hard as you can.
When you're out in the woods, you can never find one. I mean, I do it all the time. I pick up a stick and it shatters in my face, and then I'm trying to find another one. I'm like, oh, screw it.
Yeah. I've been there. I think I spent about an hour looking for one time out camping. Never found one. Never found a good stick. So
yeah.
Wait, I got something you could. My partner with Bigfoot Explorer. He's got these clavicle sticks, and the tracker Patrick Vaughn. He knew how to clack them really good. It carried away.
Aluminum baseball bat. And aluminum bats makes aluminum baseball bat. It makes that big, high pitched whack when you hit a tree with it, and it has a sort of a ping to it when you hit it. But I carried one of them for a little bit until I think I got I think I got hit with him for flowers. I'm about to lay it down. I never found it after that.
You went on to say that you may have pushed too far into their area and stuff, and they didn't want you there. And one thing I've learned is that you don't have to go way out in the woods to find them.
Oh, that's right, man. I'm telling you, I live. One of my area 3 is a 20-minute walk from my house, and it's right here in the city limits. I mean, right here in the Memphis city. The Wolf River
gentleman and stuff in our chat right now, LA Swamp Ape. He's in Louisiana.
Yeah, the LA is short for Louisiana.
Yeah, they come right up to his backyard. I mean, they come right in between houses. You know, they use this coulee down the back behind his house. They come right up. They go right to
they come up right to the fence.
Right up to the fence. You know, I mean,
he had one, which he had one that was either cloaked or had a one of the other creatures come into his yard, and you can see push his swing. I mean, the swing starts moving by itself. There's no wind. It's a calm Louisiana night down there, and the swing starts moving by itself.
I will be right back.
And all right, and that was really cool on that one. I've seen that one, and he had the most hellacious howl that night. That it didn't come from one of the dogs. I thought it was one of the dogs howling, but it was really, really weird. But yeah, I don't know where I went with that. But
well, LA Swamp Ape has a recording. We had him on the show last week, and he played this noise like you said, infrasound, but I don't know if it was infrasound. It made a woo 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 woo, and he played it, and I tell you what, I freaked out because it was the same sound that I heard when I went on expedition in one of the national state parks. Because I had one come up because it was us 3 in the camp, and it came up to the camp while we was in bed, and it seen me crawl through the window because our tracker lost the key. So I had to crawl through the window to get inside to unlock the door through the window with the air condition. So it seen me do that. So it came to that window, but before it did, it made that noise like woo, 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 woo. And when he played that noise, oh my God, that freaked me out. And I tell you, and it made a scratching noise on the window, and it drug its hand across the back wall of the past the window. And when we got up the next morning, me and the tracker went outside, and we found the footprints. We found 3 of them.
I sound that I can recall on that, but when you said that, yeah, for some reason I've either felt it or maybe I heard and felt it. I don't know. That just sounds so odd.
You know, that was actually on Carl has the same sound on audio. He played it, and oh my God, she went nuts.
I went ballistic. I'm like,
nope, turn it off.
No.
Turn it off. Don't want to hear it. Nope.
Because
she was not having it. So
and let me tell you, it was like you said, a feeling of dread because I've never been zapped before. I've never had that weird feeling like that, but that was the only time that I had that feeling when
let me say this. I didn't mention this. This has only happened on me on 3 occasions. It was, and it's in the same spot. I've been in the hip, right up in my hip and lower back. It feels like an electrical shock, like I'm being stuck with 110 to my side. And it's happened 3 different times, and it hurt. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to cuss, but anyway, it's like you could feel it inside your body of an electrical shock going through your body. And that's when I was
like I
like
said, it's like a
really
9 volt.
close.
It's like sticking a 9 volt to your tongue, but
Yeah,
it's
when you
like
said
all
that,
through your whole body.
that's right. When you
You
said
know?
that, that reminded me that, yeah, it happened to me 3 different times.
Yeah.
Now, I had somebody say that, I don't know which group this was in. I was reading this. There's something in your brain that stimulates this electrical shock through your body when you think you're in fear of something happening. I don't remember how he said it, but he said perhaps this is what's happening to you guys, and you're not actually around a Bigfoot. Uh, I, I ain't gonna go too much into that, but that's not what happened. No, this thing. It's only happened to me 3 times, and it's because I got really close to a nest. I mean, I could see the infants in the nest. There was like 2 or 3 of them in this nest. No adults around, but they were around. They were around me, and they were watching. But yeah, I got hit with that before. I know exactly what you're talking about on that.
Yeah, that's not friendly. I didn't like it. It was like
No, it's not.
it
It's
was
a
like
warning.
no,
You to
it
get
wasn't.
away.
No, I was in the camp sleeping. I was in a bed. He walked up to the window and he was portraying that vibration out there, and I'm like, oh hell no. I'm like, what the hell is this? I know it's not a train because they ain't got no trains nowhere near where we was at. Period. You know?
Yeah.
So it was a very unwelcome and unwanted feeling.
Let me ask both of y'all. Have y'all ever had a Sasquatch invade your dream?
No.
I did have an odd dream one time, and it did involve Bigfoot.
Yeah, I've had it happen twice. It's like the thing will actually, Sasquatch puts itself in your dream and speaks to you in your dream, and a lot of people call it mind speak.
My dream where there was no speaking, but it was like a freaking movie, and it was like I was really there, and it was like it was really happening, and it involved a covert military operation hidden in a warehouse that was completely labeled as something else, and it was the weirdest thing I'd ever experienced. And I'm a dead sleeper. I'm out. And this woke me up.
I'm out,
So that was the only time, though.
And I wouldn't hear it. But the 2 times that happened to me, I remember a conversation I had with both of them. To this day, I can't remember what was said. I remember it happening. I remember this thing looked so ugly. This Sasquatch that came into my dream, it was so hideous. I mean, shit was coming out of its nose, its mouth. I mean, it was nasty looking, and but it spoke to me. I sat there and had a conversation with it for like an hour, and but after that, I couldn't remember anything that was said. I remember it happening, but I can't remember anything that was said. But I just remember its face. I mean, it was hideous. It was just, it was like one of your worst nightmares of a creature that you never want to ever see again. And I've seen some Sasquatch where it looked like its mate done groomed its hair, and it's just like the hair all falls in place. It's like it grooms itself. It's weird. But
I absolutely think they do. I think it's a individual thing.
Yeah, it's individual, and it's different species. You got some that live in the caves. There's some squatch that in Arkansas, there's underwater caves in the rock quarries in the mountains, and Sasquatches that live in those caves underwater, and that's why they have that wet dog smell to them, because when they get out of the water, and out of that regular, just spring water, and it dries. You get that wet dog smell. A lot of people think. I think that's what those are. That species that lives in the water, lives in the caves. Now over here on the Mississippi River, and you can go anywhere on the Mississippi River and find caves. There's caves in where the water has eroded out the sides of the Mississippi River, but there's a lot of spots where you can go and find caves that go deep down into the ground. I haven't been all the way into some. There's some of them I went 40, 50 feet in, and then I got that stench smell that, like rotten meat and piss and everything mixed together. And as soon as that hit me, I was like, oh no, I ain't further. I'm getting out of here, because you can't see 3 feet in front of you, except wherever the flashlight's at. That's where it ends, right there. But yeah, I don't want to get caught up in a big old clan down there, and you'll disappear. So many people have,
No, there's no guarantee the Bigfoot are taking him.
Yeah,
I've gone. So many people, put it this way, so many people, even on YouTube, go out every time, a lot, every week, 2 or 3 times a week, film this stuff, and they always walk out of the woods.
Oh yeah, I always walk out of the woods.
I've done it. You do it.
I've
Everybody's done it.
a couple of them before, but
You
I've had a few bluff charges, but I've never had. Now I can't say I reach out one time and try to either grab me or I don't know what his intentions was, but he reached out and I moved away real quick, real quick. But he reached out to grab me. I think he reached out to grab me. I think I really pissed him off or something, but he reached out an arm, and I seen that arm coming out, and I was like, oh no, and I was gone. Luckily I was on a bike then, but yeah, I don't know what his intentions was that time, but that was in the area of I had an encounter with Jim Dawson. I think if you piss one of these things off, they'll rip your arms off. They'll twist your head off like a bottle cap, just as easy as that.
Oh yeah. Did you hear the story about Kevin with Glag?
Mm-mm. Who is that?
World Bigfoot Radio. That's in here. His name's Duke. He's the one who aired the story. Glag was a friend of Kevin Lang, who they met each other, and they were friends
for
life.
And
Squatch, for life. And in one part of the story, you'd have to go listen to it. It's real good. Kevin was pulled up by Glag in a tree by his arm. What is it, 40 to 50 feet, Duke?
Yeah.
In a tree, and he pulled his arm out of the socket, left him sitting in a tree, and he was telling Kevin, hide. He come down the tree, come back up the tree, and gave Kevin this look of fear, and Kevin got scared because he didn't know what was going on. And he says, hide, gun? Because he had his gun. He said, yeah, I got my gun. So he's like, he didn't know what was going on. So Glag happened to go fight some other squatches because they didn't want him to be friends with Kevin. So, but Glag whipped some butt.
Yeah.
But the tremendous force of him pulling him up the tree pulled his arm out of the socket.
Oh, and yeah.
I think how tall was Glag?
At that time, I think it was 7.5, 8 feet tall.
Okay.
I'm telling you, these juveniles that I've seen, the young ones, and they big. They young, but they big. They could easily take your arms like nothing and pull it off like. I
think Kevin described it like tying a rope to your wrist, and then tying it to a car with like 50 feet of slack.
Yeah.
And then have that car just take off to like 50 miles an hour. That's when when Glag grabbed him, that's what he said it felt like. He said, my arm just shot up, and all of a sudden I was 30 feet up in a tree, you know.
He was 40 feet. He was 40 feet in a tree, and Glag was at that time. He was 9'5".
Yeah.
But now he's taller. He's bigger. How big is he, Duke?
14 foot. 14 foot now with his family.
Right there.
So,
yeah, he's a big dude.
He's a big dude, but you know what?
Yeah.
He is
I wouldn't want one of them to get up on me.
He's a big teddy bear because there's been reports of Glag helping other people. There was one lady who got bucked off her horse into a ditch and broke her leg, and he carried that lady out to the road.
I listen to a lot of people encounter on Dixie Cryptid. I listen to Dixie Cryptid like every night. I love these people that send in their encounters, and you can tell when somebody's genuine that they actually had an encounter. You know, you can tell that actually happened. And I love hearing them stories about how the Sasquatch helped certain people and everything. I ain't had them help me yet, but
I know while Glag and Kevin were hanging out, growing up together, I think the story is that Glag's parents were shot and killed. Kevin was having some home issues and kind of just didn't want to be at home. And I think they felt each other's energy and met each other and hung out. And there was a couple instances where Kevin got hurt out in the woods and carried him out and set him on the porch of the back of the house. So 14. So Glag is 14 feet tall. He has a 26.5-inch foot. He weighs 2.5 tons.
Thank you, Duke. So you got to go listen to that story. It's on World Bigfoot Radio.
Yeah, and I believe Duke was present with Kevin.
I'm
the last time in Montana. The last time he got to see Glag in Montana, Duke was present. Where he was part of the whole group to get Kevin up there and document everything. It's
Glag Saga is what it is.
Yeah, Glag Saga.
Glag Saga is what it is. Thank you, Duke. Appreciate you, baby.
Absolutely incredible. Definitely. It will change your opinion on the entire species.
Yes, it will.
Yep.
You know,
I wish I could get more footage on my juvenile. He's still out there. I have not seen him in a while, but there's a feeling I get when it's around, and I get that same feeling every time it's around, and it just makes me feel good because I know he's there, I know he's still watching, and he hasn't left. There was a time there for a few months I didn't see it or feel anything when I went in there, and I think it's sort of like, because you can burn a spot out pretty. If you keep going to one spot and they get a little agitated, or you're coming in too many times, they'll leave, they'll move, and you won't know nothing. And I think I done that. I think I burned up one of my spots, and they left out, but he came back. I mean, the little one came back, and because I have not seen the rest of the clan or felt them or anything, but except for him. So I think I found a few shelters out in my area, some shelters that you can tell was made. These things where they intertwine all these branches and everything. So it's still out there. I ain't been in a while. It's been so cold lately, but I plan on getting out soon. I've been making these screenshot videos, and I got a video right now that is it's got a lot of controversy on it. It's got some beings that are visually, you can see them in the video. If you see them moving, they got one on there. Its mouth, it looks like it's actually having a conversation with another being in the video, and I mean, you can see it. It's not blurry. It's not, but the creature itself, it just looks like, it don't look like a Sasquatch, and I don't know what it is. It's interdimensional or CERN produced. I don't know how much I know about CERN over in Geneva, Switzerland. Well, it's just not in Geneva no more. We got a LHC in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They got one there. It's a smaller version of the LHC that's over in Switzerland, but we got one, and it's running every single day. They're smashing atoms every single day, and they're opening doorways to different realms and stuff. And that's why we getting all these different beings in our videos and stuff, because of CERN and places like CERN smashing these atoms and opening all these doorways.
Yeah, they're definitely playing with something they shouldn't be messing with. That is for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but there's an LHC, a small compact on 4 corners.
There's one in
all
Alaska
United
too.
States. Yeah, there's one in Alaska on the East Coast and the West Coast. They put one in Chattanooga here a few years ago. They we didn't know that's what it was until about a year or two ago when they started it up. And but yeah, they smashing atoms every day. And I don't know what CERN's trying to do. You know, they say they're trying to recreate what the Big Bang did, or recreate what God has done. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I know they're open Pandora's box, and they let all kinds of things out into this world that shouldn't be here. And it just trying to get the public in, well, hell, trying to get the public to believe in Bigfoot is hard enough. Trying to get the public to believe in these things is just, it's unreal. But they're there.
Oh yeah.
They're there, and they're around you all the time. And it's not just out in the woods. These things are, it's like there's so many of them that's been poured off into this earth that there's no room left for them. So when you see these pictures that has just faces in it, it's like these things can occupy the same space, you know, all these beings. And they jumbled all up together in these totem pole style, like trees. And where you think this is a tree, that ain't a tree. It's all these beings jumbled up together. I have caught so many photos of that, and I made a few videos. A few people have seen it, you know, and then the rest of them's like, "Oh, that ain't nothing but a tree."
Oh, pareidolia.
Yeah, pareidolia.
I'm so glad that somebody else sees them things besides me.
I've never had pareidolia move before. I said, pareidolia is that inanimate object. You know, it's an inanimate object that does not move, and it doesn't get up and walk away. Yeah, I love the pareidolia people. I have to get into an argument with them every time they say something like that on Facebook, but I've lost a lot of accounts that way, so I've stopped.
Let's see.
I'm a Cajun, Louisiana, and then I moved to Middle Tennessee, so I'm redneck now too. So I'm a Cajun redneck with an attitude.
I hear you. Look, Duke said the latest episode of Woodward TV is exactly what y'all talking about right now. Heavy recommended. Hi, Brandon.
I don't know, but I made up I created a new group for Facebook yesterday, I think it was, or day before. It's called Interdimensionally Speaking is the name of the group, and
it's a great title.
About 10, yeah, I've got about 10 or 15 members right now, but you can come and post, you know, whatever you want, whatever you think is out there and that you see and you find in your film, post it. I don't care. You ain't gonna get no ridicule from me. I catch somebody, you know, bullying or throwing that blob squatch crap out. They out because interdimensionally it's every. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
I've seen some blob squatches that were actually squatch. They blurred the camera out.
Well, it's not that they blurred the camera out. It's that they vibrate at such a high frequency. The camera can't pick it up. The camera can't hold it still. So that's why you get that whole blob squatch effect. It's not the camera's working fine. It's working the way it was intended to work. It's the subject that's vibrating so fast The camera can't catch it in a
That's
still.
right. Bigfoot Anthropology put a video out last week, I think it was, and he explained all that is, and he's got a slow mo sophisticated. I would love to have it, what he's got, but it's slowed down so slow to where you've seen this thing get up and move from one spot to the other within seconds, the time frame seconds. But he got it to where it slowed it down enough to where you could see this thing get up and move. But when you played it regular time, you didn't see nothing.
It's too fast for the camera.
It was a blur, and then it was gone.
It's too fast for the camera to pick up. That's it.
Right. And so the people that seen the Patterson film, and what is the other one? There's a few of them out there to where they caught, a Sasquatch off guard, which actually they've caught a Bigfoot off guard. And or it was either there's what a lot of people are calling bipolar squatches, where they've got either something's wrong with them, they're mentally retarded or something, and they've been pushed out of their clan and by themselves. They call a lot of people call them rogue squatches too, but they seem confused. I've seen a couple of videos where they would be walking back and forth and not really knowing where to go, and they had them on camera. Now, that happens by chance. That's like once in a trillion that's going to happen to somebody. Catch one of these on camera. If it ain't a hoax, well then they walked up on one that was off guard, wasn't paying attention. You wasn't paying attention, wasn't expecting for that to happen, and it happened. And there's only, like I said, one time in several lifetimes for that to happen, and I try, a lot of people on Facebook, they're like, why can't we have a clear picture? And I explain the same thing to them and tell them, well, the Patterson film, everybody's stuck on the Patterson film, because, well, they done it. Well, yeah, they done it. That was back in the 60s when they had nobody really looking for them, and got off the chance, which I'm not going to go to that because there's another side to the Patterson. I'm not going to get into that. It's not my place, but there's been a lot of controversy over it.
There's a lot of stories on the Patterson Gimlin video and stuff, I mean, we'll never know because one of them's passed away and the other one's on his way out very quickly. And unless we were there,
that's right. But
you don't know the truth. But
there is there's a record. There's a record of the Canadians that were. I'm going to say that the Canadians that were there. With a group of 5 men. There's a group of 5 men. There is some actually documentation of that group. That group is an actual group, which is still around these days. It's not the same men. But
I don't doubt that there's a group that is from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to see is the documentation is that group was in that area on that day.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I want to see. And no one can provide that. So again, until then, it is just a theory.
Yeah, I heard about it, but it came from a credible person that I know that's on YouTube, and we all know him. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's real credible. So I believe him in what he said and everything. And I know the military has specialized ops that do go in and take out rogue Sasquatch all the time. I mean, it happens all the time. These rural areas like in Oklahoma, Arkansas, there's some areas, that these towns like 51 Arkansas. 51 Arkansas is 51 people live there. That's the name of the town, 51 Arkansas, because 51 people live there, and that's it. They got one gas station, and the gas station is a FedEx, Western Union, cafe, coffee house, and gas station, and convenience store all at one. And that's the where all the kids hang out at. That's where all the teenagers hang out at. And there's one stoplight in the whole town. And the nearest town is probably 45 miles away in one direction, and the next one 25 miles away in the other direction. There's like 2 police officers that police the whole town, you know, and it's so spread out. Your nearest neighbor is like a mile away, you know. The Sasquatch in that area are known. Some of the older generation that I've talked to, because I've went to that area a few times when I lived in Arkansas, a lot of the older generation said they would leave slop buckets in their kitchen and leave the kitchen door open. The Sasquatch would come into the house and eat that out of that bucket and then leave. And that was like their gift to them every single night. And they would tell their kids, you know, the kids would tell me, you know, yeah, I can remember Grandma saying, if you hear anything in the kitchen, stay in your room and stay in your bed. Do not go in there. And that's pretty wild to me. I mean, that's like, this is back in the 60s and 50s when all this occurred, you know. And I don't know.
It's like Janice Carter.
Yeah,
and her family, you know, 50 years with Sasquatch.
Yeah, I've seen all that. That was pretty cool there.
They had Fox knocking on the back door, holding his hand out, you know, and he wanted garlic, you know.
Garlic.
So.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, I mean,
you know,
it's kind of a wild imagination for that time period. You know what I mean? It's like, why would somebody say that unless?
Yeah, and
it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Because they didn't have TV and shit that back then,
right?
You know, to where, you know, or the movies or anything. You know, they didn't have anything about Sasquatch or anything. They didn't. It wasn't broadcast like it is now.
Right.
So
you know,
I absolutely believe that. And these people in rural Arkansas, the Sasquatch around there, I mean, they're right there. I've got photos and off a video from around the property I was living on in Gamil, Arkansas. We had 758 acres of national forest that connected from the Missouri state line, right past the Missouri state line, all the way through Gamil, Arkansas. Man, we had Squatch everywhere. I mean, interstate, it was 108 that goes through there. I've got a video where there's 5 of them sitting in the bush, clear as day. On the video, you can see the sun gleaming off of this one's brow ridge. Half of him's in the sunlight, half of it in the shade. You see the sunlight gleaming off the brow ridge. The hair, the bone head, it's cuddling a little infant like this in its arms, and it's crouched down looking at me. As I'm walking by, there's 2 standing behind it and 2 more crouched beside it, and it's not 50 feet off the road. And that's like here. And people say, you're in the city. How can there be Sasquatch in the city? Well,
I've said it this
city people don't pay no attention.
No, and I've said this 100 times in my videos, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. They're anywhere and everywhere they want to be.
That's right. And city people don't pay attention.
Nope,
they don't.
I've proved it.
They're not.
I've proved it. You know?
They're not looking in the woods. Like I said, I've only seen 2 people out in the woods in the 5 years I've been going out there, and they don't pay attention. They're so caught up in their phones and stuff that you know, they don't pay attention. At 5 o'clock in the evening time here in the city, you don't see walking around. They ain't. Everybody's in their house or in their yard, and most of them not in their yard. But You know, it's these times and these days, these phones and computers, they've destroyed us, man. They've just, I actually believe that it's coming to where it's really close. I see. I'm into other uh, activity research. I say I'm really into this Nibiru system that's moving through our solar system. I mean, I've got footage of these planets that you can see that the government can put up, spraying our skies with these chemtrails and everything, covering this crap up. It's fixing to happen. I think we're in the sixth trumpet. You know, in the Bible it says that when the sixth trumpet sounds, all of these creatures that are unseen become seen by man. You know, all the unseen will be seen by man when the sixth trumpet sounds, and that's where I've seen this veil that we all call the veil has been receding. And a lot of these creatures that we've never seen before are coming to sight. And I think at the end of the sixth trumpet, I think it's going to be seen. All these creatures are going to be seen. The government's going to admit it. They're going to have to come. They've already admitted the alien, you know. Yeah, the aliens exist, you know, they admitted that. I don't know if y'all seen that or not or know about that, but it's going to come time. You're going to have to, with the way the Sasquatch and the Bigfoot are populating, and the way they're cutting out these forests, these fires and everything, it's pushing them further to the city. And at some point, it's going to be where these things are going to be in your backyard. You know? And then what you going to do? You know, the government's going to have to say something sooner or later because it's going to become public knowledge.
Well, with all that being said, we are going on an hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
And that, I think we'll leave it at that to let people absorb everything and to think about what was just said, because I completely agree with that. There's a lot more going on than what people realize is going on. Right. And I believe Christy has gift cards to give away tonight.
Sasquatch.
So she is picking a name. I think she's going to do a female and a male, right?
Yep. Oh.
Card too.
Pat Harrison. Blue-eyed Northerner.
Blue-eyed Northern. Claim your prize.
Blue-eyed Northern.
Blue-eyed Northern.
All right.
Now I got to pull a guy's name, so.
Behind Blue Eyes. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, Paul. Paul just left, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't know if he left or not.
Oh, are you still in the house?
Man, I got like 3% battery.
Well, that's all we need.
Yeah, because I got it hooked up to the charger.
Okay, well, I guess.
I don't know what.
Oh, no, he's here.
Paul
Guess what? I picked your name, Paul and Pat.
All right. So we got Blue-eyed Northern, Paul Tavares, claim your prize.
And we got one more next weekend. Okay. I'm throwing in an extra weekend. Yes, I'm throwing it. I'm waiting for the Sasquatch to come in. So probably because all this Christmas mess going on, so I'll probably get them in after.
You to claim their prize.
I'll get them. Oh, I could get them on Messenger. So.
All right then. Okay.
I got you covered.
All right. No problem. Thank you, Mid-South Sasquatch, for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear your side of things and your stories. And we hope to have you on again in the future.
Anytime. So, just give me a holler.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. And I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody with many blessings.
Merry Christmas to everybody in chat. You know, I ain't even had my chat on. I wasn't even looking. I had my chat turned off because I knew I'd pay attention. I'm on every site. You know, I just screwed up.
So, thank you all for joining us, leaving those wonderful questions, those great comments. Make sure that Blue Eyed Northern and Paul Tavares, you claim your prize. And we will see y'all next Sunday.
Next Sunday it is.
With more Sasquatch.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great week.
You too. You too. Good seeing you, man.
SoCal. And thank you, homegirl.
That's all right, Mid-South. That's all right.
We're all good. We're all good, man.
Homebred.
That's right.
Y'all have a good one.
You too.
I'm a full coon ass.
That's it.
I am a full blood coon ass. And that's respect.
BPT.
Coon ass, I'm all right. Y'all have a great week.
You too. Merry Christmas, man.
Hold on. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Merry Christmas.
See you all next weekend. Merry Christmas.